The other matchup that is a rematch of Week 1 is the same scenario. We talked about how the Packers and the Eagles, they're now facing each other stateside. They were in Brazil for Week 1, but the Washington Commanders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will face off in Tampa just like they did in Week 1. So they will be doing that on Sunday Night Football at 8 p.m. on Sunday for this one. What's your matchup that matters here in this rematch, Carmen?
It's Jayden Daniels, but Jayden Daniels' scramble ability more specifically versus the Bucs front seven. I mentioned it earlier. Jayden Daniels has the most scrambles of any quarterback in the league by a large margin. He has 78 scrambles this year. And the Bucs have had some issues with scrambling quarterbacks this year in particular. However, I would like to do a callback to last year's wild card round where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers faced off against the Philadelphia Eagles. They did well against Jalen Hurts, at least in the sense that they made him one-dimensional. Hurts was sacked 3 times. He only ran once for 5 yards. He had good passing numbers, but that was kind of the whole mentality behind this Bucs defense was make Jalen Hurts have to beat you with his arm. I don't know that that's going to work if these two teams play each other this year with A.J. Brown, how well they're doing, all that kind of stuff. But I do think that that's kind of the thought process behind Jayden Daniels in his first playoff appearance as a rookie. Make him beat you with his arm. Do not let him, scramble around and get you down the field after 4, 5, 6 seconds and do his best Josh Allen impression. I do think that this Bucs front, the defensive front in particular, when you talk about Kalijah Kancey, Vita Vea, you have to affect Jayden Daniels from the interior of that line. And I think you're going to have an opportunity to do that. But I think that that's really going to be what Todd Bowles and his defense try to do against a guy that can beat you scrambling with his legs, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have to try and shut down that part of his game and force him to beat you through the air.
Yeah, I think that just to sort of piggyback off of that was a matchup that mattered that I had highlighted as well, but I kind of want to hit a different one since you hit on that one. I will just say that the Commanders want to run the football. Like that is just really important. Like even beyond Jayden Daniels being a part of that, they want to run the football. That is how their offense is set up best when they are very balanced. I know people think about Cliff Kingsbury and what Jayden can do with his arms and all that kinds of stuff, but Brian Robinson, along with Jayden Daniels, like that, them running the football is paramount to their success and a good day on the offensive side of the ball. But I'll go to a different matchup that matters. Baker Mayfield is sort of the ultimate X factor in this game, no matter what. I don't know if he was specifically your plus factor. He absolutely could have been.
He was my plus factor, yeah.
Okay, so obviously we can have the back and forth Baker Mayfield conversation here. I'm sure you would have brought this up, but I'll highlight it here. Baker's been unbelievable over the last 2 weeks in particular. He threw for 4 touchdowns in the Week 1 matchup against the Commanders. If you want to just go like, okay, we'll match up this defense versus how Baker played. Threw 4 touchdowns, and the Bucs scored 37 points. They looked awesome in that Week 1 matchup. Last 2 weeks, Mayfield has had a 93.5 passing grade, 3 big-time throws, no turnover-worthy plays. But an element of his game that really shined against the New Orleans Saints that was a big reason why they were able to come back and win the division themselves. I know Carolina won, so they would have won it anyways, but themselves. His rushing ability and really how he was able to scramble and pick up yards with his legs and first downs with his legs and all that kind of stuff. He had 68 rushing yards last week. Give Bucky Irving a run for his money out here as the leading rusher on the team. So the matchup that matters here is not just Mayfield playing well. Mayfield has to play well for the Bucs to be able to win this game. But it's that added element of who he was as a rusher against Bobby Wagner, who's one of the most high IQ linebackers in the game, and Frankie Louvu, who I can't believe Carolina let him get away. And I love the fact that he's getting to play next to Bobby Wagner now in Washington. Like those two linebackers it's one of my favorite linebacker duos in the NFL. And when it comes to spying quarterbacks and not letting them pick up first down with their legs, it's often what happens at that linebacker level. Those two guys have the ability to really neutralize Mayfield as a rusher with his legs, not pick up all those big-time chunk gains. So the matchup that matters to me is not allowing Mayfield to be the runner that he was last week for the Bucs to come back and beat the New Orleans Saints, and really containing Mayfield to just the pocket. And when he feels pressure, he doesn't feel as though he can escape and just take off and run with it. you've got to be able to stop him on those first couple of carries and make him feel like, all right, well, if I escape this pocket, I can't run like I was able to in week 18 against this team. So now he's sticking in the pocket a little bit longer. Maybe he's panicking a little bit more. That's ideally what you want to do if you're Dan Quinn, Bobby Wagner, and Frankie Lou. So to me, that's a huge matchup that matters, is Washington's linebacker specifically against Mayfield's rushing ability. But you said that you had him as a plus factor, so I'll let you talk about him before I kind of talk about somebody else.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a huge part of it because you saw what he was able to do, especially in this last game against the Saints, getting some really crucial first downs just using his legs. He also has the third most explosive runs of any quarterback in the league. So that's something that is a huge part of his game, and it's something that the Bucs have come to rely on, justifiably so. That's just, again, another element to add to the defense having to defend him. On top of that, my only other thing with Baker Mayfield is taking care of the football. That's been the biggest, I think, knock against Baker this season. He ranks 15th in turnover-worthy play percentage and has had the most turnover-worthy plays with 25 of any qualified quarterback. So that's something that, all right, as long as you take care of the football, which he has over the last couple of weeks, and you use your running ability rather than forcing throws, and we no longer have to force Mike Evans the football. He broke the record. Incredible scenes in Tampa, just all the way around. You no longer have to worry about that. You no longer have to force these throws. Don't force the throws. Use your legs a little bit more if you're Baker Mayfield. And again, just take care of the football. I think that's paramount against this Washington team, which is capable of scoring points offensively. You don't want to give them any more chances than they're already going to get. But I can't say enough about the job that Baker Mayfield has done down the stretch and the confidence with which he's playing with and how much that should help the Buccaneers in the postseason this year.
Yeah, plus factor for me is Antoine Winfield Jr., who was a full participant at practice on Wednesday. The Bucs secondary unit has been their Achilles heel throughout the last, I would say, 4 or 5 games. They've had poor play from the safety injuries too. Position in general. A lot of injuries that they're going through. Jordan Whitehead, they put on the non-football injury list because of a car accident where he suffered injuries there. You've had guys in the cornerback room in and out of the lineup, but even when they've been in the lineup, some chemistry isn't exactly what it is because these guys have been hurt in it's different lineups that are out there all the time. And so Antoine Winfield Jr. is an all-pro safety. He's one of the best safeties in the NFL. You can make a case that he is the best safety in the NFL. And so anytime that you get a guy like that and you get to put him back in the lineup, well, the secondary is going to be a lot better. So it's been a major issue for Tampa over the greater part of the last month, but Winfield Jr. hasn't been out there for the last 4 games, and I think that is a big-time reason why. So him being out there is the ultimate plus factor, in my opinion, in this game. You can go with a couple other guys, like how well Jalen McMillan has been playing recently, I think, is a big reason why this team is playing very, very well. How well Cody Mock has played this season in general, how well Ben Bredesen and just the offensive line in general has really gelled.
Graham Barton, yep.
I mean, Tampa's offensive line is it's a top 5, top 3 offensive line in the NFL. And and I don't think they're talked about quite at that level, and they should be. It's a lot of names that not a lot of people would know outside of Tristan Wirfs, but these guys kick ass together and they're playing really well. And because of that, you've got the ability to beat anybody. So all of those things to me are kind of X factors. Some corners on Washington's side of things. Can they get home? Do they have the guys to be able to bring some pressure? What can the rookie Jer'Zhan Newton bring as well? Like there's a lot of different storylines in this one, but to me, the big boost is Antoine Winfield Jr. because of how big of an issue the Bucs secondary has been over the greater part of the month. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.